You know that moment when someone pushes you just a little too far and it backfires so badly they end up destroying their own life? That's exactly what happened when Karen, the self-important president of my local HOA and my workplace manager, publicly fired me in the office lobby, thinking she'd humiliate me in front of everyone. What she didn't know, I just closed the deal to purchase the entire building the week before. That's right, she fired me, in my own building. But the real fireworks started when she refused to leave and ended up in handcuffs. Let me rewind a bit. I've always kept a low profile at work. I'm a systems architect, quiet, methodical, and excellent at what I do. I'd been with the company for about 7 years. Everyone respected me, but I wasn't flashy or political, so I stayed under the radar. That's probably why Karen, our new operations director, thought I'd be an easy target. She was the classic power-tripping HOA Karen. Pixie haircut, clipboard always in hand, and a perpetual sneer like she'd smelled something rotten. She'd just been promoted internally, mostly because she brown-nosed upper management, and decided she needed to clean house. Her words, not mine. From the moment she got that title, she zeroed in on me. Maybe because I didn't grovel or pretend to be impressed by her power, maybe because I wore jeans instead of khakis, or maybe because she recognized me from our HOA meetings, where I always pushed back against her insane rules. Yep, small world. She began nitpicking everything I did. My lunch breaks were suspiciously long, even though I always logged back in early. My tone in emails was borderline insubordinate. She even tried to write me up for having too many personal items at my desk. One time I had a cup of noodles, a cactus, and a framed photo of my dog. 3 items. I counted. It was clear she wanted me out. But here's what she didn't know. Outside of my day job, I'd been investing in commercial real estate for years, quietly. No flashy cars, no bragging. I just made smart investments, reinvested the profits, and moved in silence. And recently, I'd been negotiating to buy the very office building we all worked in. Through an LLC I'd formed just for that purpose. The owner was retiring, and after a few months of haggling, we struck a deal. So when the ink dried on those papers, and I officially became the owner of the building, I decided not to say a word. I wanted to see how Karen would play her hand. Spoiler alert, she played it poorly. It all went down on a Wednesday morning. I had just walked into the lobby, coffee in hand, nodding to the front desk guard when I heard Karen's voice echo across the marble floor. "There he is," she barked, marching toward me like a drill sergeant. Her heels clicked aggressively, and she was flanked by 2 HR reps who looked deeply uncomfortable. Karen?" I said, puzzled. "Everything okay?" She grinned like a cat who'd cornered a mouse. "Actually, no, you've been a thorn in this department's side for months, and it's time we part ways. Effective immediately, you're terminated." Right there, in front of the entire lobby. Employees, clients, delivery guys, everyone just stood and watched. I blinked. "You're firing me? In the lobby?" She folded her arms smugly. "That's right. Maybe next time you'll show your superiors more respect." The HR folks looked horrified. One tried to interject, "Karen, maybe we should take this," but Karen wasn't listening. "Security will escort you out. You can collect your things later." That was when I smiled. Not a fake, confused smile, but a slow, calm grin. The kind that says, "You just messed up big time." I turned to the security guard who had already stood up, confused. "Hey, Tony, could you do me a favor and call the building manager? Tell him the owner wants to report a trespasser." Karen froze. "Excuse me? The owner?" I pulled out my phone and showed her the digital copy of the property deed. "Yep, I bought the building last week. I was going to wait until Friday to announce it, but since you made such a public scene, I figured now's a good time." Her face went pale. "You bought the building? You're lying." "Call the property office," I said coolly. "I'm the sole member of Apex West Holdings LLC, the legal owner of this address. And as the owner, I'm giving you 2 choices. Go back to your office and apologize, or leave the premises immediately." She stammered. You can't do that. I'm your superior." "No, you were my superior. But since you just terminated me, unlawfully might I add, you're now just a tenant in my building, and I'm about to revoke your lease." Now at this point, most reasonable people would apologize, swallow their pride, and try to salvage their job. Not Karen. She doubled down. I don't care who you think you are. I run this office, and you're not welcome here. You're a joke. Then get this, she physically grabbed my arm to pull me toward the door. That was the final straw. Tony, I said, nodding to security. She just put her hands on me. That's assault. Call the police. Tony hesitated, until Karen shoved him. Get out of my way, she screamed. I'm in charge here. Within minutes, the police arrived. The front desk staff gave them the building security footage, which clearly showed Karen grabbing me, shoving Tony, and refusing to leave after being told by the legal property owner to vacate. The officers calmly approached her and said, "Ma'am, we're going to have to ask you to come with us." Karen shrieked like she was being kidnapped. "This is harassment. I'm the director. He's just an employee." "No," the officer said firmly. "He's the owner of the property, and you're trespassing." She was handcuffed and escorted out of the lobby, red-faced and sputtering. You could hear the gasps and whispers from employees watching through the glass. And me? I sipped my coffee and waved her goodbye. The aftermath was delicious. Corporate HR incident and immediately suspended Karen pending investigation. HR, realizing how badly they'd fumbled the situation by letting her fire someone in a public space with no process, offered me my job back with a promotion and a raise. I declined. Instead, I leased the top 2 floors of the building to a tech startup and converted the bottom floor into a co-working space. It's doing quite well, actually. Karen tried to sue me for wrongful detainment. Her case was laughed out of court. She was also slapped with charges for assault and disorderly conduct, though she eventually settled by attending anger management classes and paying a fine. But the best part? A few months later, I walked into a city zoning meeting, same room where HOA meetings used to be held. Guess who was there? Karen. Only this time, she was on the other side of the table. As a citizen,